Okay, here we have section 8.2, addition with real numbers. Let's just jump right into this. This is going to be very straightforward and simple, kind of some review. We're going to add real numbers, and let's remember that to add two real numbers with like signs, add their absolute values and use the common sign. To add two real numbers with unlike signs, subtract their absolute values, the smaller from the larger, and use the sign of the number with the larger absolute value. This is going to become pretty intuitive as we kind of go along, and as you get higher in math, you won't even think about this anymore, but it's kind of what you're doing. And you'll just kind of know what side the number ends up on. So let's look at some examples, and then it'll actually work some. Okay. Here we've got an example 1, addition with like signs. Notice we've got the positive of 10 plus 3. Remember, that looks really messy, okay? So this is what you're seeing. This is it right here, just 10 plus 3, okay? That's it. You've done that plenty of times. They're making it look very messy here, but I just don't want you to get lost in the weeds here. This is just 10 plus 3, which you know is going to be 13, okay? Here, negative 5 plus negative 9. Okay, what they're saying here, when they're saying add the absolute values, negative is the common sign. Notice we have a negative here. Notice they have a negative here. What they're doing is they're saying, okay, I'm going to pull this negative out right here, okay, and then just keep adding these together. Okay, well, remember, the absolute value of negative 5 is always 5. Negative 9 is 9. So 5 plus 9 is 14. Okay, well, when you throw that negative back on here, this is going to be something that, technically speaking, what you will probably see, not technically speaking, what you will see is this one day. This is the same thing as saying negative 5 minus 9, okay? And that still equals negative 14. Because whenever you have a negative and you're minusing a negative, you're adding them together because you're getting further, okay? You're getting further away from 0 in the negative direction. Think of it this way. I have negative $5, okay, I owe you $5, and then all of a sudden I owe you 9 more. Well, how much do I owe you now? Well, I owe you $14. That's how I kind of see it, so just kind of be wary of that. Okay, let's continue on with some examples here. Okay, same thing as before. They're doing this strictly as decimals. Me, I'd get rid of the decimals, but still, notice they have a common value of negative here. Okay, so they're pulling out the negative again. Okay, that's what they're doing right here. I'll kind of do this. Notice they're doing that right there. But this is also, remember, the same thing as seeing negative 2.5 minus, okay, 1.4. Okay, same thing. Okay, so notice here they're just saying add these absolute values up. Okay, and when you do that, you get 3.9, but they keep the negative out front. And then right here, plain and simple, that's just plain and simple normal right there. Add them up. You're going to want to find the, obviously the common denominator in this one, which I don't know if they should do that on this one. Yes, here they did. Look, they found the common denominator, which is going to be 12. Okay, so they just, same thing. That's no different. You add, subtract, and multiply. Okay, not multiply, sorry about that. You add and subtract. These are just, this should be just strict review right now. Okay. The positive sign may be omitted when writing positive numbers. Remember I said that in the last lesson. But the negative sign must always be written. So let's actually underline that or do this. The negative sign must always be written for negative numbers. Okay, thus if there's no sign in front of a real number, the real number is understood to be positive. Okay, negative numbers affect a lot of things. Positive numbers don't. So that's just, you're going to see that more and more when we get into things. It'll make more sense to you. Okay, let's do some examples here. I'm going to do these the way I would do them, okay? But I don't want to get you confused, so let's just kind of think of what's happening here. And you have, okay, because remember, this is sort of review for you now. So you've got 7 plus negative 6. Well, 7 plus negative 6, what they're saying on this one is, remember, you're going to subtract the absolute values and keep the sign of the larger one. Okay, but I'm going to write these out the way you're going to see these eventually. Eventually, this is the same thing as seeing 7 minus 6, which is just straightforward and simple. You can see what that is, okay? I sometimes write a little graph over here that says when you have this and this, you get this. When you have this and this, you get this. This and this equals positive and positive and positive equals positive. Okay, that's going to become more apparent as we go along, but we'll kind of do this the way they want. Okay, so notice the larger value here is 7. 7 is a positive, so I'm going to pull that out. And inside here, I'm going to have the absolute value of 7 minus the absolute value of negative 6, okay, which is going to give me, okay, 7 minus 6 all inside here. And then you get 7 minus 6, that's just going to equal 1. And notice it's a positive, okay, so we're just going to kind of keep the 1 there. Well, let's do the same thing here. I've got two different signs here. Remember, this one you wouldn't change. Okay, you could actually keep it just the way it is. This is actually how you'd probably see it later on. Okay, so look, we've got, okay, 8 plus 3. Okay, you can rewrite these. You could put 8 minus 3 if you wanted to, because you can switch these around. Okay, but let's do it the way they want. Notice our larger value here is a positive, so let's write that on the outside. Okay, well, what's my absolute value? My absolute value is 8 minus the absolute value of 3. Okay, what is that going to give me? Well, the absolute value of 8 is 8 minus the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. And then I get what? 5. Okay, and that's going to give me a positive 5 there. I'm showing you the positive 5 on that one, but remember, when you don't see it, it's always going to be a positive. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do some more here. This one right here, you can go straight into the subtraction, okay, if you want to, or you can multiply everything by 10, okay, so you'd have 95 over 87. But let's just go and do it the way they want us to. Okay, so notice here, let me switch up my pins. Okay, we've got a larger value here of this negative. Okay, so we can see that the negative number is larger. Okay, so he's going to be our number that we're going to have to end up being. So since we have a negative value on that here, I'll put a negative out here. And let's go and say, what is the absolute value of 9.5? Okay, minus the absolute value of 8.7. Okay, well, if we do that, well, the absolute value of 9.5 is, negative 9.5 is 9.5 minus, okay, 8.7. Okay, I'm putting everything in here, so we kind of do this the old-fashioned way. Turn that to a 15. Okay, we're going to borrow from over here, make that an 8. Okay, what is this going to be here? And we're going to get 8 here. Okay, and don't forget your decimal. Okay, and then notice I'm going to put a 0 up front there. Notice that the common value here, the largest value is a negative, so here we have negative 0.8. Okay, you could have also turned all of that into a multiply, like I said, multiply everything by 10 and get rid of the decimals. Alright, so let's do this next one here, and we've got negative 5/8 plus 1/2. Notice that my larger number is going to be the negative here. Okay, so I'm going to want to pull the negative out. Okay, so let's go ahead and start rewriting this slowly but surely. And let's get negative on the outside, and then I have my larger number is going to be 5/8, so I'm going to put it right here. And that's negative, the absolute value of negative 5/8. Okay, minus the absolute value of 1/2. I'm going to leave myself just a little bit of room right here when I put that absolute value there, because notice I don't have a common denominator here. So I'll come in here and grab my black here. And notice I'm going to have to multiply everything here by 4. Okay, that way I get a common denominator. Let's go back to my red. And then we've got the absolute value of 5/8. Okay, which is, that is going to be, let's put our equal sign, put our negative out here. Well, that's just going to be 5/8. Okay, minus, well, the absolute value, that's going to be 4. That's going to be an 8. That's going to be 4/8. Well, 5 minus 4 is going to be a 1. Okay, and then we just go and keep that denominator there, and don't forget to bring down our negative. Okay, and there is our final answer for this one right there. Okay, so that's how things are going to work out. We're just going to kind of keep doing a bunch of those, remember, from class, and then we'll also do some Hawks examples.